welcome to another Sunday market breakdown. As you can see on the right, we have a couple of pairs on the watch list. So let's start with the first one, GBP USD. Now, what can I see on the monthly? On the monthly, I can see that we're currently reacting on this monthly IC. I already put a line there. I'm going to do it again. Boom. And what can I see on this monthly IC? I can see very strong supply and demand. Buyers, sellers, 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 buyers, buyers, buyers. So a very interesting buying region for me. Now let's go to the weekly. On the weekly, I can see a bullish M pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're currently operating at our 100 pip level, 100 level. Now, what can I see also, which is very interesting for me, why I'm looking at this position is we're also have a pretty strong supply and demand zone. We have buyers, 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 sellers, sellers, buyers, buyers. And we can always see when we're at this zone, we get a pretty strong impulse. Boom, to the upside. Boom, to the upside. Here, boom, to the upside. So for me, a very strong buying region again. Now, I can already see that we took a lot of liquidity from this monthly zone and we managed to respect or close above this weekly 100 level. So the first liquidity has already been taken. So I'm not necessarily directly going to the 4-hour anymore, but I'm waiting for daily patterns. What can I see on the daily? A bullish M. 1, 2, 3. Potential 4, potential 5th leg. So I'm just waiting patiently for the price to come back to my zone of interest. Next one on the watch list is Euro JBP. Now for Euro JBP, I'd like to start on the weekly. What can I see? We're currently trading at our weekly lows with lots of buyers, 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 but also lots of sellers, sellers, sellers. So once again, a strong supply and demand zone. Now, when I take this further a bit more to the monthly, what can I see on the monthly? I get the same supply and demand, lots of buyers, sellers, sellers, and currently we're at this zone again. So I can go to the daily, considering this is a phase 3 trade, and I can mark out my daily structure. What's also very interesting on the daily is that we're trading in a very big inverse head and shoulder pattern. Shoulder 1, D head, and currently we are trading at our shoulder 2 and also respecting it. So I will mark out my first daily structure as my daily target, daily TP. And what can I see on the 4-hour? For the moment, not really much. I'm not willing to take this decel as this for me is not a valid decel, but I'm waiting for the price to potentially go deep, make an inverse head and shoulder, and then potentially trade this to the upside. So pretty sharp on the 4-hour here. The next one, GBP NZD. Let's start off on the monthly. What can I see on the monthly? A bullish M. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're currently trading. We're currently trading at our 100 level. Also very important, previous month we closed above our 100 level, so we respected our bullish M. On the weekly, what can I see? For the past couple of weeks, the price came very impulsively, and then we had a slow down movement of the price. When our price was at our weekly lows with a weekly IC, we had a first tap, a second tap, and now the third tap, and previous week we had a bullish engulfing close. So for me, I'm looking to trade a long setup until where? Until this weekly supply and demand zone, which is also my weekly bearish W. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going for this phase 1 trade. This is a valid phase 1 trade for me because we're also trading at our weekly lows. And from the weekly lows, we got the very bullish, impulsive, and engulfing close. So what do I want to see on the daily? On the daily, I want to see a daily pattern, a reversal, and after a reversal, a continuation. Now, what can I see on the daily? First of all, when we got to the monthly lows, we had our inverse head and shoulder here. Shoulder 1, the head, shoulder 2. And the price action is pretty choppy. But when I go to the line charts, What can I see now? I can see shoulder, the head, a bullish M. So I'm waiting for the price to correctively retrace towards this shoulder to look for an entry. Next one on the watch list is GBP JPY. Starting on the monthly, what can I see? 2 months ago, we had price slowing down with an indicating candle. And previous month, we had the same indicating candle, but it closed bearish. So potentially the market is looking to make some relief towards this supply and demand zone. Buys on the monthly, short. Now on the weekly, I want to see this confirmation. What can I see on the weekly? I can see the impulse, correction with the trend, switch of momentum, and a nice head and shoulder pattern. Shoulder one, the head, potentially shoulder two. So I'm just waiting till the top side of the shoulder is tapped, and then I can look for an entry. Next one on the list is CAT JPY. Now, what can I see on CAT JPY? 2 months ago, we had a bearish indicational close. So potentially the market was looking for some relief towards this supply and demand zone. Now, what happened last month? Last month, the bears tried to push towards the downside, and we still closed bullish above this high. So this tells me that the bears have been quite weak. So I'm looking for long setups. Now, on the weekly, what can I see? I see that the weekly, or that the price has tried to make an inverse head and shoulder, completely failed. Price went up towards the high. We took a short position here, and it was also resulted in a loss. So the bears have failed to push towards the downside. So for me, there's a lot of bullish power in the market. So what did I also mark? My weekly high, because the market can still possibly trade towards this weekly high before the real bears kick in. Now, obviously, this is a phase 4 trade. Now, I want to see some daily confirmation. What do I have on the daily? I have the impulse, the correction, and very clean impulse. A very clean bullish M pattern with our zone nicely aligning with our weekly high. So, again, waiting for the market to come back to my zone to look for a potential long setup. Next one on the list is AUD entity. Easy monthly. What can we see? Previous months, very bullish close. So unless the market is giving me signals that it wants to turn, my bias stays bullish. What can I see on the weekly? On the weekly, I can see a bullish M pattern. 1, 2, 3, potential fourth, potential fifth leg. So just waiting for the market to come there. Also very nicely on the daily. On the daily, I can see that same pattern. 1, 2, 3. This could potentially be A, B, C towards this 100 level. And then we can look for a nice long setup. Next one on the list, NZD CAT. What can I see on NZD CAT? I see that we're currently trading at, on the monthly, I can see that we're currently trading at our weekly inverse head and shoulder. And when I put a line on this inverse head and shoulder, I can see that nicely is aligning with lots of buyers. Buyers, 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 buyers. See this price pushed all the way up, tapped this point, triggered the liquidity, and shot all the way back up. So very interesting buying region for the bulls. Now, what can I see on the weekly? On the weekly, I can see multiple things. First of all, we have a bullish M. 1, 2, 2, 3, A, B, C. But what can I also see is that the first structure we've completely ignored. We managed to close below the first structure. So at this point, I'm not interested in the long setups. I'm going to wait until the first zone, my weekly IC here, has been tapped. And when I look at the weekly IC, I can see that it's nicely aligning with lots of buyers. Buyers, buyers. See more to the left, more buyers, buyers, buyers. So again, waiting here for the zone to be tapped. What do I have? I have the monthly is very bullish at an inverse head and shoulder and a very strong buying territory. On the weekly, we can see that same buying territory confirmed, and we can also see the weekly pattern. We have a bullish M, but we also have an inverse head and shoulder. So very sharp on this one. The next one, NZD Swiss. Let's start off on the monthly. What happened previous month, we respected this inverse head and shoulder. Now, it doesn't matter how this candle looks like because we're still 23 days until the monthly close. So at this point, my bias is still long because previous month we respected the inverse head and shoulder. So I'm expecting the price to push more towards the upside, especially because we have a weekly flat wall here and we can go to this monthly IC. Now I need some confirmation on the weekly as usual. What can I see on the weekly? We have a big bullish M. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have an inverse head and shoulder. Shoulder 1, D head, and shoulder 2. And we are currently trading at our weekly bullish M 100 level. We can see the first structure ignored, second structure respected, but the price continued to make this bearish W and push towards the downside. Our shoulder region has been ignored previous week, but we're now trading at our 100th level. To my monthly, inverse head and shoulder, bullish, weekly, a big bullish M on the 100th level, so I'm very sharp on this position. What can I also see on the daily? On the daily, I also have a nice fib completion. When I take my fib from the low to the high, I see that it has been activated, and I see that we've tapped the minus 27 fib completion, and we respect it nicely. And what's also very nice when we take this minus 27 fib completion, we can see that it's nicely aligning with buying, with buyers, and also this daily IC. So I'm currently waiting on the 4-hour to give me something in terms of a potential head and shoulder. So I'm waiting for the price to do this, give me the switch of momentum, the inverse head and shoulder, and then I'm going to trade this trade here towards my daily first structure. And then my last setup on the watch list is Swiss yen. Again, starting from the monthly, very easy. We can see bullish uptrend, impulsive candles going all the way up. So my bias stays long. What can I see on the weekly? On the weekly, previous month, we broke this weekly high. Previous week, 2 weeks ago, sorry, we broke this weekly high. And previous week, we retested it. So phase 4 trade is currently active. So I'm looking to trade daily patterns until the weekly TP. And what can I see on the daily? On the daily, I can see a bullish M. We have 1, 2, 3, same highs. So I'm waiting for the same lows to be tapped, and then we can trade towards the upside. So these are the pairs on the watch list. Lots of phase 2 trades. Obviously, there's some other pairs that have weekly lows, weekly highs, but we're still pretty far from those zones. If they get tapped, I will update you guys on Instagram as usual. So yeah, this was the SMB, and lots of luck to you all.